Today on our 2018 Jeep JK Wrangler, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster EZ4 baseplate kit with removable arms. That's going to be part number RM-521448-4. If you're looking to flat tow your Jeep, there are going to be several components for a complete setup so we can safely get it down the road. So we'll need a base plate. We have our Roadmaster EZ4 base plate. You'll need a tow bar to hook everything up. We have our Roadmaster Stowmaster. You'll need wiring. We have the Roadmaster diode kit with the included plug and cable. You'll need a set of safety cables. We have the Roadmaster coiled safety cables. Finally, you'll need a braking system. We're using the Stay and Play Duo. Once you have all these components in place, you're ready to load up your motorhome and hit the road. So here's what our base plate is going to look like once we have it installed on our Jeep. This is going to serve as the attachment point so we can hook up to our motorhome with our tow bar. The nice thing about our base plate, when we're not towing it, we can pull on this pull ring, rotate the arm, and remove it, and we'll have a lot more of a hidden look. Our base plate is designed to work with quick disconnects and Roadmaster tow bars. However, it can fit other tow bars with an adapter that is sold separately. In the center here, we're going to have these two prongs so we can mount our electrical plug. And then just towards the driver's side, we'll have another bracket so we can mount our breakaway switch for our braking system. And then on the very outside on each side, we'll have our safety chain connection point. We'll have plenty of room to get those hooks on and off. As far as installation goes, our base plate is going to be very straightforward. We're not going to have to pull anything off the front of our Jeep except for the skid plate underneath, and it is going to require very minor drilling. So now that we've seen what our base plate looks like and gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. To begin our installation, we're going to need to remove the skid plate right here on the front. We'll have 4 fasteners that are going to be along the very front edge that we're going to need to pull out. So we have a flathead screwdriver and we can start popping them out. They're going to have some notches going around the edge. You want to put your screwdriver in those notches to where that center section comes out. Then we can get underneath the outer edge and pull the rest of the push pin out. Now with the ones in the front removed, we're going to come underneath the skid plate, right in front of the front tire by the frame. We're going to have one more push pin on each side. So we'll take a screwdriver and we'll pop those out as well. These ones are a little bit harder to see just because they are underneath the skid plate, but if you find your sway bar, it's going to be right below it. Then we can remove the skid plate and set it aside. So now if we look right into the side of the frame rail behind where our skid plate was, we're going to have a hole on the inside of the frame rail. We're going to need to extend that hole so it goes all the way through. So I'm going to take a long drill bit, I'm going to go through the hole, make sure I'm in the center, and I'm going to drill a pilot hole all the way to the other side. I'm going to come back with a 1/2 inch drill bit and enlarge that hole to a full 1/2 inch from the outside of the frame rail. I'm going to grab one of our long bolts from our kit and a flat washer. We'll slide the flat washer onto the bolt, and then you want to grab some red Loctite, and we're going to put Loctite on all of the bolts in our kit. Just put a little bit on the threads. And then coming from the inside of the frame where we originally drilled our hole, we're going to push our bolt through all the way to the outside of the frame. Double check that it's not catching on any wires or any looms or anything on the inside of the frame there. And once it's pushed all the way through, we can grab our pipe spacer. We'll slide it over our bolt. We can grab our side plate. And you'll notice that it's going to have kind of a bend and a single hole at the top. You want that bend to be sticking out away. We'll slide that over the bolt, follow it up with a flat washer, a lock washer, and then we're going to secure it down with a nut. So you just want to put everything on there hand tight so we can still move the bracket around, but snug enough to where it's not going to be falling off. And if we rotate our bracket up, you'll notice that the holes in the bracket are going to line up with the holes in the subframe. We're going to get ready to lift up our main receiver brace, but before we do, I'd like to go over the hardware and how we're going to hold it in place. So we'll lift it up, and it's going to go right on the outside of the subframe here, and our bracket is going to go on the outside of that. We'll take one of our longer bolts from our kit, follow it up with a lock washer and a flat washer. That's going to go through the bracket, through our brace, and into the subframe here. And then we're going to take a handle nut and we'll feed it up through the brace and thread it into place just like that. We're going to do that on each side, that way we can hold the brace up and get the rest of the hardware in. And don't forget to use red Loctite on all your bolts. So with the next set of hands, we're going to lift our base plate into position. We'll pivot the brackets and at least get the bolt to go through the holes so it'll help support it. Then we can feed our handle nut through the bottom and we can get it threaded in place. Let's get everything hand tight for now. That way we can come back and get the rest of the hardware in place. On the driver's side, we're going to take our bracket and we're going to line it up with our brace, making sure we go through the hole in the subframe so that it'll support it. And then we'll put a handle nut over here as well. And we're going to repeat that same combination of hardware for the upper hole as well on both sides. On each side of our base plate, we're going to have this tab that's going to go back towards this support bar going across. We're going to want to take the shorter of the bolts, the lock washer and a flat washer, and we're going to feed it up through the bottom. And then this support plate here, if we reach over the top, it's going to be completely hollow, and you can get access to the bolt on top. We're going to slide in this nut plate so that we can sandwich everything together and secure it. So just reach over the top, drop your nut plate in place, line it up, and we can start threading everything in. You're going to want to do that on both sides with the same combination of hardware. Now on the driver's side, we're still going to have to put that bolt through the side of the frame here, but since everything is mounted up loosely, we can use our bracket as a template. So we'll come from the outside, and again, starting out using a small drill bit, I'm going to drill through the frame till we get to that hole on the other side. And once you have that hole drilled, you're going to use the same combination of hardware, with the bolt coming through the frame, using a spacer block, behind the bracket, and then a flat washer, lock washer, and nut. I'm going to come back with a 19mm socket. I'm going to snug up all my hardware. You're going to want to torque all your hardware to the specified amount in the instructions. For the excess handle on the handle nuts, just grab a pair of pliers and grip it pretty tight, and it'll either break off, or if you can't get them to break like that, you can grab them and start bending it until it snaps off. And we'll do that for all the handle nuts and the excess sticking out. Now in order to get the skid plate back in place, we are going to have to trim it. So we'll hold it close as we can to the factory spot where the holes are going to line up. Then we can make some marks and we can trim out as needed. I went ahead and cut out the areas in the instructions, and I went ahead and cut a little bit more. You're going to want to cut it, kind of test fit everything, make sure everything fits how you want to, and then trim as needed. So now we can take our skid plate. I'm going to go behind the base plate, feed it up. It might get caught on the bracket for the breakaway switch. You just want to work it up and around so that it can go back in place. Then we can start putting all the fasteners back in. That'll finish up your look at the Roadmaster EZ4 base plate kit with removable arms, part number RM-521448-4 on our 2018 Jeep JK Wrangler.